One time, me and my husband Chuck and my sisters, Tina and Sheila, decided to go to an old abandoned, rumored to be haunted church near Florella, Alabama, at a place called Natural Bridge. It was out in the country on an old, seldom used dirt road. Rumor had it that there had been some sort of altercation took place there, some kind of tragedy that had caused the death of one of its members, and the church had closed down and boarded up the upper floor where it had happened. I don't recall the exact details of the story, but that's the gist of it. Anyway, we decided to go there late one afternoon, just before dark. Our intention was to explore the church and the adjoining graveyard and just see if it was as spooky as everybody said it was. Well, we started on our trip and we hoped that we'd make it to the church before it got dark. Finally, we were on the old country dirt road that led to the church. Chuck turned off the car radio and we got sort of quiet. Even the birds stopped singing. It seemed like the sun suddenly disappeared and a creepy, shadowy vibe led the way. Soon enough, though, we could see the church through the trees on the top of the hill. There was a long drive leading up the hill to the church, and I felt a sudden dread as Chuck pulled into the churchyard and parked the car facing the church. There was an old graveyard beside the church. Unfortunately, it had gotten dark on us, and we could see the tombstones sort of glowing in the moonlight. Suddenly, I could hear the faint sounds of a piano playing and people singing. Well, before I could say anything about it, Chuck turned on the car's headlights, facing toward the windows of the church. When he did that, the singing stopped, and the lights shone on the church, and that's when I saw through the windows people sitting in the church, in the pews, with their backs to us. The women all had on bonnets. Suddenly, all the people turned around at the same time and stared at us, smiling through the windows. I freaked out. I started hyperventilating, telling Chuck to leave now. My sister Sheila was like, "What? Are you crazy? We just got here." I said, "I don't care. We have to leave. There's people in there. People from a long time ago, by the looks of their clothes." Well, she didn't believe me, and she started laughing. But I was serious. I was nearly crying. So Chuck took me seriously, or at least he knew I was truly upset. And he turned the car around, and we left out of there in high gear. I was too afraid to even look back. It was the creepiest thing I had ever experienced. Now, this church had been unused, abandoned, and boarded up for years. Nothing in it but a pulpit and a few old pews. No piano, no electricity, just an old wooden country church no longer in use. Like I said, some kind of tragedy had occurred there. Another time, me and my sisters, we decided to go back, but during the daylight hours. Well, I remember it was a very cold and cloudy winter day when we went back. We parked, we got out, and we walked up to the front doors of the church. But there was bees buzzing around the church front door, all around the windows, everywhere. So we walked around and tried to peer in the windows, but we couldn't because the bees were just swarming the windows. I like covering the windows nearly, hundreds of them, and it was winter time. It just didn't make any sense to us. It was freezing cold. And why in the heck was there bees there in the freezing cold? Another thing that we thought was really strange that day was that all the window panes of the church were clean and crystal clear. like new. They should have been crusted over with dust and grime from the years of abandonment and neglect. Well, the beast that day kept us from going too near the church, and we decided it wasn't worth it to even try. Because my sister Tina, she's allergic to bees, and we didn't want to take any chances of her getting stung. These bees seemed highly active, regardless of the cold, so we left. It was years before any of us went back there again for the third and last time. This time we went in the spring, on a warm and sunny afternoon. The church itself had burned down, completely gone, nothing to show for it but a pile of burnt rubble. But we were able to get out, walk around, and explore the graveyard, and nothing strange or paranormal happened. The birds were singing, the sun was shining through the trees, and it was just a peaceful, calming scene. We took some pictures of the tombstones for Find a Grave. But I'll never forget what it felt like that first time we went there and seeing those people that looked like pilgrims in old fashioned dress sitting in the pews and turning around to stare at us. We haven't been back there since, but the graveyard that dead ends in the backwoods at the top of a hill under moss covered trees, mostly forgotten, is still there. Maybe my mind, anticipating something spooky, conjured those people singing in the church. I don't know, but maybe it didn't. Hope you enjoyed the story. Thanks for listening.